we're here to share our experiences, our expertise that help you build the foundations that are important when you're starting and growing a profitable and enjoyable business. Yes, it has to be enjoyable too. Okay. And these are business practices, they're strategies, ideas that have come up in our conversations over the years. And sometimes we would get on our soapbox. I'm known to do that. Of like, all right, sidebar. I'm on my soapbox at the moment. Okay, and like I said, yeah, over the years, geez, we've known each other over 2 years. Well, Barbara, why don't we start there? Why don't we share with our audience how soapbox moments came about?
Well, it was a little over 2 years now, and Christine and I were in a program together, and we had the opportunity to start talking. So, a month or two after that program concluded, the specific event in which we met, I was in a frenzy about my technology. And I realized that Christine not only has a superb technology mind, but she has this wonderful capability to see the part in relation to the whole, the app that is necessary for the outcome I would achieve. And that was beyond my pay grade because I'm a writer and a creative, and technology is not my biggest strength. And Christine was an invaluable help.
Well, thank you for that, Barbara. I so enjoyed helping you with that. And we stayed in touch then for the next year because as I was looking back as we were preparing for this, it wasn't until the following summer, the summer of 2021, I was developing a 3-day online event, and I had written my landing page for the event. My coach at the time looked at it and said, "No, this isn't working. No, this is just like." I was so proud of it. It's like, but yeah, it wasn't working. And I decided it was the right time to invest. I invested time and money with Barbara. I reached out to her. I said, I need help with writing this landing page. I need something that's going to work for me. And I was amazed. I was blown away at her process of writing a landing page. The questions that she asked me, oh my God, I never dreamed. I thought I'm a great person for asking questions, but she brought so many things to the table that I never even thought about, and it helped me in more ways than just getting my landing page written, which is why I had to give her a testimonial. I did a video for her, and I hope it's helped you, Barbara.
Well, not only did it help me, but to be honest, and this speaks to the enjoyment part of being in business and the fulfillment part, it it really warmed my heart. And it made me recognize that I had made a difference in this client, in Christine's initiative, that I provided her the help that she needed to move forward in her event.
Yeah, and then well, and besides helping me with the landing page, I asked you for a testimonial to help with my 3-day event, which was so helpful. And we again we were feeling the synergy, that we had something that so many people needed, and we complemented one another. But again, time went by and I don't know what is it with the summers, Barbara, but then in June of 2022, this past June, we got reacquainted in person. We were at a women's event in June of 2022. We got reacquainted. Yeah, really, what is it with the summers? And yeah, time went by, and oh yeah, what happened in August of 2022 then?
So in August 2022, Christine asked me to be a guest on her podcast. And again, what a cool event that was. I know we provided valuable information. And again, we had fun doing it. And Christine told me, and I observed as well from the comments, not in the chat, but afterwards, how well people received and enjoyed this particular podcast.
Well, it's more than how well they received it. It's like you had the most views of all of my Make It Click guests, Barbara. I was blown away when I kept checking the numbers of how many times it had been watched. It far exceeded everybody else. So I was like, Barbara has something. I need to stay in touch with this lady. You know? And yet then just a few months went by, not a whole year. Okay, well, yeah, because we're only in early 2023. So we didn't wait for the summer of 2023. In November of 2022, we were at an online event together. Well, she didn't know about it at first. I saw Barbara in the Zoom room. I was like, oh, look, there's Barbara. I reached out to her, was chatting with her, and we said, hey, we got to have a call and catch up. And on that call, we brought this thing up again. We had talked about collaborating, doing something together. We had tossed a couple little ideas out, and then we said, no, we've got to nail this down. We've got to make this thing happen. And we stayed religious about meeting every week. We put it on our calendar. We spoke every week. So, Barbara, I know I feel that that was really the turning point to making this collaboration happen.
No question. We took action. That's what made the difference. We put action behind our words or our wishes or our intentions. We brought them to life. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was the conversations that we had. We started in another area. We were like, we would love to do an event together. It's like, oh, let's do an event. Yeah, that's yeah. Takes a lot of work and it's like, how do we fill seats? How do we were like, so we got to back up a little bit.
Walk before you can run.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where great collaboration, I think, comes from. But before we finish this whole thing, though, because we do want to talk about collaboration, what's the best part of the whole story, Barbara?
Well, the best part of the whole story is that one of the phone calls we were having, I happened to mention that my birthday is April 25th, and you'll never guess what. Christine's is April 26th. So one of these birthdays, we're going to get together for lunch. And I live in New Jersey, and she lives in Pennsylvania. And the parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania in which we live are an hour, maybe an hour and a half apart. So it was in the stars. The universe was telling us we had to do something.
Right. There were just so many things that popped up over these last few years that we just knew it was the right thing to do. And as I was just mentioning about the collaboration aspect, and Barbara had said about we took action. It's nothing happens without action. Um, I know over the years, a few people here and there that I've met, we would talk and say, "Oh, we feel like there's again synergy. There's something that we could do together," but nothing ever came of it. I don't know. What about you, Barbara? Have you?
Yeah, I've had that experience too. And it might be a combined issue. Maybe they weren't the right people. Maybe the complement wasn't the perfect fit. But hands down, the defining factor is that we just did it. We didn't just talk about it. We literally did it. And we created a plan and we stuck to it with these meetings to bring this first episode and many more to fruition.
Right. And it's in those conversations. It's kind of similar to people who think one-on-one coaching is most beneficial when they don't realize that if when they're in a group coaching situation and they hear other people's ideas, that's where some of their ideas come from. But when Barbara and I would schedule a meeting, okay, in the beginning, I think we lost well, I shouldn't say we lost time, but we didn't stay on task and we went off in other areas and whatnot. But it was early on, the first couple of weeks that we started to really get in sync and started to work out what this was going to look like. And once the ball started to roll, it was amazing. It was amazing. And so it does good collaboration does take time, but it doesn't have to take 2 years.
Doesn't have to take 2 years. And sometimes something is staring you in the face, but you don't get it right away. Point is, it's never too late. And good collaboration, and to Christine's point about the group, it gets the juices flowing. A person will say something and it sparks an idea in you. It provokes an enthusiastic response.
Mhm.
And one thing leads to another. So, and things move forward. It's
Right,
great.
and through our conversations, that's how we decided to call this show, the Soapbox Wisdom podcast. It came out of discussing other things, and I think at one time Barbara had said, "No, wait a minute, what did you just say?" And we had tossed some other ideas around. It wasn't just once and done. No, we had some other ideas, but it was because we were talking about it that it came out because it doesn't work. I know for me to go off and say, "All right, I'm going to go write my notes, my ideas." Okay, Barbara, you go off and write yours, and we'll come back and compare notes. And it's like, no, it was those conversations. So it was just, yeah, amazing. So Barbara, should we tease our audience about some of the topics that we will be talking about?
I think that's a great idea. You get them started.
Okay. One of the well, two terms that sometimes put me on my soapbox are strategic and success. Well, especially success. Uh, I will be at an event, or maybe it's just a networking meeting or something, and somebody's, wow, that was a success. And my question always is, so what makes it a success? Is it just that people walk away feeling good? Did people come away with a lot of contacts? But nobody could define beforehand what it was gonna look like, and I'm a firm believer, how do you decide if something's a success unless you decide beforehand? But like I say, this is something, we are gonna talk about at length and hopefully, help you to see more successes in your business. What do you have for them, Barbara?
So, I have the importance of listening and asking good questions, relevant questions. My background is journalism, and so I've grown up professionally doing interviews, did research beforehand, came up with questions, was prepared, and asked them. Well, the same thing goes when you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. You have to ask your prospects the right questions in order to be able to provide solutions that will help them.
Oh, questions. Yes, as I mentioned before, I always thought I was the winner at asking questions, but boy, Barbara, this is going to be so interesting since both of us love to ask questions.
I
And
told Christine that when we used to go out with other couples, particularly to rock concerts back in the day, they would always tease me and say, Babs has your notebook out, because they could see that I was observing and questions were coming to my mind.
oh, I would do the same thing. Oh, yeah, go to a Broadway show. What am I? I'm watching behind the scenes. How are they doing that? How's it all playing out? Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's
I'm
what
right
makes
there with
life
you.
interesting, Christine.
Yes, yes. And the third one we want to tease you about, another term, another concept is value. um, many business owners don't get how value comes into their pricing and how to really look at it properly. There's different ways to look at it. Well, I don't want to say too much about value. Do you want to add anything? I don't want to say too much, but it's an area that once you get it, and I have to say, it took me years to understand it. And when the light bulb went on, I was like, oh my God, now I get it, and it's so much easier in my business now that I get it. What about you, Barbara?
So it's an area that business owners grapple with because it's a little objective, and it does take a long time. Like Christine, it took me a long time, but you really have to have belief in yourself. I read something just yesterday. You don't want to work with people who don't appreciate your value. You want to have faith in your value, and you want to work with the people that can't live without you and the value you provide to them. It's a good rule of thumb to follow.
Right, right. Well, and there you have it, the introduction to Soapbox Wisdom. And you can catch us every Thursday, the second and fourth Thursday of every month. There will be a new episode. We'd love to hear what you want to learn. What information it has you stymied and frustrated in your business. I've had my own business, oh gosh, probably 12 years now. How about you, Barbara? How long have you been in business?
Essentially since 2014,
Okay.
but started to go out on my own with freelancing for media outlets in 2008.
Right. So, we've got years of doing things wrong and then doing things right. So we hope that you will tune in to the next episode. So I'm glad that you were here today listening. And what do we say, Barb? That's all we got.
No question too big or too small. So do write into us and tell us what keeps you up at night and what you'd like to talk about.
Have a great day.
That's all she wrote. Sorry for the pun. Have a great one.